All right, today we are going to review some main idea in detail. If you are someone who is taking the retake test, or it's actually a quiz tomorrow on Wednesday, then you need to listen to this video and go along with me and practice with me. If you are one that is not retaking it, then you have already talked to me about um, writing the paragraph. Okay. So let's continue here. What you will need is a pencil and just a piece of paper. Okay. You do not need to print these off. Um, you just, I'm going to give you a link to these on the week at a glance, but you can just use it to read it. Okay. You don't have to write anything on here. Okay. So as you read this, I want you to just answer one simple question. What is the main idea of this passage? So to do that, I want you to restate the prompt, okay? And I want you to write this on your notebook piece of paper. So restate the prompt and say the main idea of this passage is, begin your sentence with a capital letter, end with a period, and make sure that your main idea is a complete thought. In fact, find the main idea in the paragraph. Okay, you don't have to make up your own. It is one of these sentences in this paragraph is the main idea. So just write it out. Okay, so I'm going to read this and then I want you to pause the recording and write the main idea and then come back and we'll go over it. Okay, so here we go. Past presidents brought many interesting animals to the White House. President Bush's dogs often played on the White House lawn, but did you know that he also had cows and a cat? One of the strangest pets belonged to the wife of John Quincy Adams. His wife raised silkworms. Herbert Hoover had a pet opossum that lived at the White House. Calvin Coolidge had a pet raccoon named Rebecca who walked on a leash, and Theodore Roosevelt was famous for his snakes, dogs, cats, a badger, birds, horses, and guinea pigs. During World War I, Woodrow Wilson kept a herd of sheep on the White House lawn. The sheep were used to cut the lawn by eating the grass. Some of the more unusual U.S. presidential pets have been gifts from other world leaders. James Buchanan received a herd of elephants from the King of Thailand, and Martin Van Buren received a pair of tiger cubs. From dogs and cats to snakes and elephants, all of these animals are part of a long history of U.S. presidential pets. What's next? A White House zoo? Okay, so I want you to pause this and restate the prompt and give me the main idea. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, we're back. So the first thing that you should have done to find the main idea is ask yourself, what is the topic of this? So, what is the topic or the subject matter of this paragraph? Well, hopefully you said presidential pets. So, remember, the topic is just the one or two um, word phrase. Okay. So, this is not going to be a complete sentence. However, the main idea, that is a complete sentence. And remember, I said to restate the prompt. So, I'm going to restate it right now. The main idea of this passage is, and then let's go back and find out. So we know that the topic is presidential pets. Then ask yourself, what is the author trying to tell us about presidential pets? What's that main point that they're trying to make about presidential pets in this article? Well, what they're trying to tell us is that there have been many interesting pets that the presidents have gotten, right? So we don't have these just normal pets. We have very interesting pets. Where did we find what sentence in this paragraph tells us the main idea? Well, in this particular paragraph, it is the first. uh, I can't highlight it, but anyway, it's this first sentence. Past presidents brought many interesting animals to the White House. So that's what I'm going to put as my main idea. The main idea of this passage is past presidents brought, and if I don't remember it, well, look, I'm going to go back and see. Oh, went to the wrong one. Brought many interesting animals to the White House. Now, if you put interesting pets, that's fine. It doesn't have to be word for word, but if they give you the main idea, why don't you use their words, right? The main idea of this passage is past presidents brought, now I can't even say. Oh my goodness, I'm losing it. Brought many interesting. So they're saying they're many. Brought many interesting. You can say animals or pets, whatever you want, animals to. Now, they didn't capitalize White House, but it should be capitalized because that is the name of a particular building, and it is called the White House. So, White and House should be capitalized. They were wrong. Okay, so that is our main idea. The whole paragraph is about these presidents that brought interesting animals to the White House. If I were looking at this to grade it, I would check to make sure that you restated the prompt. Main idea of this passage is good. I would check to make sure you had a capital and a period. Good. Then I would check to make sure it was a complete thought. So without restating the prompt, is this a complete thought? Past presidents brought many interesting animals to the White House. Yes, that is a complete thought. Your main idea must be a complete thought. Do not say the main idea is about presidential pets. No, that's not a complete thought. Or the main idea is about presidential pets that are interesting. Yeah, you have the information, but you're not writing it as a sentence. So write it as a complete thought. Okay. Then I need to see that the presidents are in it and that they brought interesting animals. Okay. Some people today said they brought different animals or they brought wacky animals. If you want to change the word, I mean, it's still correct. Okay. So that is our main idea. Now let's look at some supporting details. Well, your supporting details must include the president and the pet. So I can say one supporting detail is John Quincy Adams' wife raised silkworms. Another supporting detail is Herbert Hoover had a pet opossum that lived at the White House. One supporting detail is Calvin Coolidge had a pet raccoon named Rebecca who walked on a leash. Another supporting detail is Theodore Roosevelt was famous for his snakes, dogs, cats, a badger, birds, horses, and guinea pigs. Or we could do one supporting detail is Woodrow Wilson kept a herd of sheep on the White House lawn. Another supporting detail is James Buchanan received a herd of elephants from the King of Thailand. Okay. So the only one that you have to be careful with here is right here. It says President Bush's dogs often played on the White House lawn. Now, a dog isn't that interesting, but did you know that he also had cows? So I could say one supporting detail is President Bush had a pet cow. Okay. So those are your details. Make sure that you restate the prompt. One supporting detail, another supporting detail. Okay. All right. Let's go and do two more just so you practice. Now, these ones are a little bit harder because you're not going to find the main idea in the first sentence. Okay. So let me read this to you. Ella Johnson Sirleaf, and we can just call her Ellen, was the first woman to be elected as the leader of an African country. As president of Liberia, she made huge improvements in people's lives. Before Johnson Sirleaf became president in 2005, Liberia was in debt, and most people didn't have jobs. The country had also been divided by a long war. After Johnson Sirleaf entered office, she asked other countries for help with the debt. She made it possible for more girls to go to school. She also worked for peace in Liberia. Because of the important work she did in Liberia, she won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2011. So, what is the topic of this paragraph? What is the subject matter? Who or what is this paragraph about? Well, this paragraph is about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Okay, so I'm going to come back here, and the topic, the subject matter, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Okay, so that means that when you write your um, main idea, that her name should be in the main idea. Now, if you just want to write Ellen, that's fine. Okay, because this is now if you're doing it on a test, I'd want you to write all three, but because you're practicing and you may not want to write so much, you could just write Ellen if you wanted. Okay, so now ask yourself, what is the author, what point is the author trying to make about Ellen? What is the main point they're trying to get across here? And make sure that you have details to support it. So go ahead and pause and write your main idea, restating the prompt, and then come back and we'll see if it's correct. Okay, so hopefully you did that. Now let's look at this. This one was a little difficult today for some of the students. The main idea is in the paragraph, but you may have to change it up a little. Okay. So, what I had the kids do for those that were really struggling on what the main idea was is look at the details and then see what they have in common. So it says she was the first woman elected as the leader of an African country. She made huge improvements in people's lives. Um, so they were in debt, and they didn't have jobs, but she helped get them out of debt. She got helped the people get jobs. She made it possible for girls to go to school. She worked for peace in Liberia. What do all of these have in common? What would you say if somebody said, okay, this person um, got helped get jobs for the people? She helped get rid of the debt in the country. She helped girls go to school. She helped get peace for the country. What do all of those have in common? What is she doing? Well, what she's doing is she's making huge improvements in people's lives. Now, you can just write this as it is, as far as the main idea of this passage is as president of Liberia. But then when you get to she, you have to give her name, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So this is how I'm going to write it. The main thing is that she made huge improvements in people's lives. All of these things, getting rid of the debt, helping get jobs, helping girls go to school, helping to work on for peace in Liberia. All of those are helping to improve people's lives. So she made huge improvements in people's lives. Well, let's restate the prompt. Main idea of this passage is Ellen, I'm going to use her I'm just gonna say Ellen for right now. Ellen made huge improvements in people's lives when she was president of Liberia. Now, if you wanna do it how they wrote it, you could do that. You could say the main idea of this passage is, let me see exactly how they said it, is as president of Liberia, Ellen made huge improvements in people's lives. Okay. You could say it like that, but make sure you restate the prompt. Make sure you start with the capital, end with the period. Okay. But what I'm looking for is that Ellen made a huge improvements in people's lives. Now, someone else decided they were going to do this last one about her doing important work in Liberia. So you could do that. Um, the main idea of this passage is Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did important work in Liberia when she was president. Okay. So that also could be the main idea. She did important work or she helped improve the lives of others, something like that. Okay. All right. Let's do the last one. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to read it to you. When people think of Antarctica, they think of snow and ice. When they think of deserts, they think of sun, heat, and sand. Yet, in spite of its cold temperatures, Antarctica is actually a desert. In fact, it is the largest desert on the planet. A desert is a very dry environment that receives less than 10 inches of precipitation yearly. On average, Antarctica gets less than 2 inches. Most of that precipitation is in the form of snow, but rain or ice can sometimes fall as well. Okay, what is the topic or the subject matter of this paragraph? Hopefully, you are shouting out Antarctica because this whole paragraph is about Antarctica. Right? Now, ask yourself, what is the author trying to tell you about Antarctica? What is that main thing that they are trying to tell you about Antarctica? Go ahead and pause this. Make sure you restate the prompt. Start with a capital, end with a period. And then when you are finished, restart this and see if you are correct. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, so let's look at this. Um, this one, more of the students were able to get. So in the beginning, they are giving you like an introduction, saying when people think of Antarctica, they think of snow and ice. When they think of deserts, they think of sun, heat, and sand. Yet, in spite of the cold temperatures, what are they trying to tell us about Antarctica? They're trying to tell us that it's a desert. Okay, that's the main idea. And then the rest of these details are telling us why it's a desert, because a desert is a very dry environment and it receives less than 10 inches of precipitation yearly. And then they're telling us, well, Antarctica gets less than 2 inches. So that would mean that they are a desert. Okay. So the main idea, you could say, the main idea of this passage is Antarctica. And then, oh, sorry, it's not letting me. Antarctica is actually a desert. You could do that one. Or you could say the main idea of this passage is Antarctica is the largest desert on the planet. Either one will work. But you have to restate the prompt. The main idea of this passage is Antarctica is the largest desert on the planet. Or you could say the main idea of this passage is Antarctica is a desert. Either one would work. Okay. The main thing is that you're saying Antarctica is a desert. Because you could say, some people said Antarctica is a cold, snowy desert. If I don't mind if you want to put the adjectives in front of it, but you have to say that it's a desert. Okay. So these are your main ideas. I'm hoping that it's becoming clear. When you take the test tomorrow, the things that most people messed up on is when you have to write it out, make sure that you restate the prompt and that you start with a capital and end with a period. A lot of people miss points because they didn't take the time to write complete sentences. Make sure that when you are giving the main idea that you are writing a complete thought. If you start yours with the main idea of this passage is about, no, that's not going to cut it. Find the sentence in the paragraph and then use that as your main idea. Okay? Don't make up your own. Find the sentence in the paragraph. When you're doing the multiple choice, if one of the choices for the main idea is one word, don't choose it. That's the topic. Main idea must be a sentence. When you are choosing what detail, which one is a supporting detail? If it's the main idea, it cannot be a detail. If you've already chosen it for your main idea, it cannot be a detail. Okay, so that is all I have for you for today. Tomorrow you will be taking the quiz. Good luck.